Hello, and welcome to Rise Unwind. I'm Chris Malony. Each week, we connect with people across the country to share ideas, inspiration, and simple ways you can enjoy life right in your own neighborhood. On this week's show, we've got that and plenty more.
The fruity and floral has a tremendous amount to offer. These are real trends that are really happening with a lot of newness.
85% of those who are financially solo said they feel confident in managing their day-to-day finances.
So sit back, relax, and let's rise and unwind.
You know what happens when life throws everything at you before you even have a chance to figure it out? That's the idea behind Margo's Got Money Troubles, a series that follows a young woman navigating money, identity, and some very unexpected choices along the way. Today, we're joined by Rufie Thorpe, the author behind the story, and Eva Anderson, executive producer and writer on the series, to talk about bringing this bold, funny, and very real world to life. Welcome to the show, you two. How are you?
Great. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks so much.
All right, Rufie, this story started as your novel. What was the moment that you knew Margo's story had to be told in this way?
Well, I think the whole book really began to come together. I'd had this idea for a character who was both a mother and an OnlyFans model, but when I brought in her father, who is an ex-pro wrestler, that's when the draft really started to come alive, was watching the two of them together.
So, Eva, when you came on to help adapt it, what stood out to you about Margo as a character?
I mean, Margo's such an interesting character in Rufie's book. She's very resourceful. She's scrappy. You know, early in the book, she gets pregnant, has an affair with her college professor and gets pregnant, but is very she doesn't blame anyone for it. She just decides to take what life has given her and make something of it. And because of that, you get to follow her into all these really interesting places. She's also just like very funny, and she's very loving, and she's a great mom, and she's a great OnlyFans model. She's somebody you really want to root for, Margo.
And the show balances humor with some really real life struggles. How did you find that tone without losing either side? And how much did you pull from real life moments?
I mean, it all came from Rufie's book. She has this really interesting tone that's both very, very funny and at times very dark. And I think a lot of it was just our cast. You know, we had Elle Fanning playing Margo, Michelle Pfeiffer playing Cheyenne, her mother, and Nick Offerman playing Jinx, her father, the pro wrestler. And those three could really balance so much in terms of putting them through really difficult things while never losing their heart and their humor and their love for each other.
And there's a lot of themes here. There's money, identity, motherhood, even some internet culture. What do you hope audiences take away after watching?
I hope that they feel more empowered to make their life something they want on their own terms.
The book's and the show's very non-judgmental, and I hope that they don't judge other people and they approach the people they love with love.
And now that people can watch it, what are you most excited for audiences to experience or react to?
Nicole Kidman wrestles Nick Offerman in a pro wrestling ring. And so that's pretty exciting.
I just love getting to see Elle Fanning, this feral and sort of bestial and very much a wrestler's daughter. And also the portrayal of that first postpartum period, I feel like is more accurate than I've seen on TV. And I'm excited for people to see her this way.
You buried the lead with Nicole Kidman and Nick Offerman there, all right?
Yeah, and Michelle Pfeiffer sings. That's also important.
All right, I'm excited for all of this. Margo's Got Money Troubles is now streaming on Apple TV, so you can catch up on the series and see why so many people are already talking about it. Hey, I want to thank you two for joining me today.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for having us.
One bold idea turns a full-blown international mess in Balls Up. It's a fast, over-the-top comedy where marketing stunt goes completely sideways and it doesn't let up. And today, Paul Walter Hauser plays Elijah right in the middle of the chaos. Paul, it's good to have you here, my friend. How are you?
Good to be here, man. Thank you for having me. Yeah, this movie, some people might find it far-fetched. You know, Wahlberg and I play two guys who are kind of, co-workers, but also arch nemesises, as it were, if that's a word, nemesises. But we end up at this World Cup game, Brazil versus Argentina, and we ruin the World Cup, and the entire nation of Brazil is after us. So it may seem far-fetched, but, sports fanatics are pretty tribalistic. This is the biggest game of the year. And as we see in baseball sometimes, a fan will get involved in the outfield where they stick their hand out and literally make an outfielder miss a fly ball. So something like this could definitely happen. And far be it from me to think that the Brazil soccer fans wouldn't want to kill two guys that ruined the World Cup.
Elijah gets thrown into some wild situations. How did you approach like playing this character who was basically trying to just keep up with the chaos? Was there any real life influence to build that character off of?
You know, Elijah is a bit of a fish out of water. He really isolates and is kind of in his own world, kind of work obsessed. I don't think he's on a dating app. I don't think he has many male friends or camaraderie or community. So this film is really him stepping out of his comfort zone entirely. And not only does he make a new friend by doing that, he kind of tests his own fortitude. You know, he has to kind of man up or balls up, so to speak, in the film. And that was fun to play as an actor. It's fun to have to rise to the occasion amidst feeling the ineptitude of the character.
And the comedy here is pretty bold, pretty big. What was the most fun moment for you to film?
Oh, man. I think anything with me, Mark, and Sacha Baron Cohen was a lot of fun. And anything with Molly Shannon, because I'm a big SNL nerd. I love Saturday Night Live, and she's one of my favorite people.
I can't wait to see you and Sacha together. You guys are like some of them. In my opinion, you two are some of the best actors I've ever seen.
Oh,
so
thanks, man.
you two on screen together is just going to be very, very fun to see.
We got some magic moments.
You're also sharing the screen with Mark Wahlberg. What was that dynamic like behind the scenes?
Mark is super generous, super funny. He has a playfulness to him, a sense of like, almost like a naughty kid in school who's like, what can I get away with? Mark like has a mischievous side, and he's very funny and sharp and well-read. So I got along with him swimmingly, and I hope people feel like we have good chemistry, because as we were doing it, it felt like we had good chemistry.
And I want to thank you for joining me today. Paul Walter Hauser, Balls Up is now streaming on Prime Video. So if you're looking for something fast, chaotic, and just a good time, it's ready to check out right now. Paul, I want to thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Dan.
Mother's Day is coming up, but for a lot of moms, slowing down isn't always realistic. Between work, family, and everything else going on, self-care usually ends up at the bottom of the list. Today, board-certified dermatologist Dr. Leah Cardwell is joining us with a few simple ways moms can feel more refreshed, confident, and put together, even on their busiest days. Welcome, Doctor.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Chris.
Absolutely. Now, why is it so important for moms to make even a little time for self-care in their everyday routines?
Yes, exactly. So moms are always taking care of everyone else, and often it's at the expense of themselves. And this can lead to fatigue, stress, and burnout. So I really recommend that moms prioritize self-care. And with self-care, a little can go a long way. And so I really recommend for my patients, they actually tend to follow simple routines more consistently over those more aggressive, complicated routines that they follow intermittently. And I actually see better results with those simple routines.
Excellent. Well, everyone loves easy. So give us some easy things moms can do to feel good and stay cool throughout the week.
Yes, absolutely. So busy moms, they're always on the go. It can be difficult to slow down even on Mother's Day, but I recommend Secret's new whole body cooling deodorant mist and relaxing lavender. It's a great pick-me-up, on-the-go option that moms can just spritz on the skin. It's actually been demonstrated to cool the skin by 10 degrees, and so it helps them to stay calm, cool, and collected.
Now, not everyone has time for spa days or long routines. What are some simple ways to look your best every single day?
Yes, awesome. And like I said, self-care can be simple. I actually recommend Olay Microsculpting Cream with triple collagen peptide. It's been shown to actually activate the cells to repair the signs of skin aging. It helps with fine lines and wrinkles. It works with your own natural collagen. You can apply it after cleansing to your face and neck area, and it's a one-stop shop and packs a big punch.
What are some of the important basics when it comes to taking care of your skin?
Yes, great question. So whether it's your facial skin or your body skin, it's all skin, right? So we want to make sure we're prioritizing hydration, make sure that we are avoiding irritants, and just really trying to stay hydrated and making sure that we are protecting that skin barrier. I really love Native's moisturizing body wash because it does just that. It's super hydrating. It's super luxurious. It actually lathers beautifully on the skin. It's available in a variety of fun scents, and you can turn that daily shower into a 24-hour hydration treatment.
All right, where can our viewers go for more information?
Yes, they can go to bit.ly/Mother's Day Beauty Buys. That's bit.ly/Mother's Day Beauty Buys.
Dr. Leah, thank you so much for joining us today and helping the moms out there look their best.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Chris.
More Americans are managing finances on their own these days, whether they're single, divorced, or widowed. And while a new study found many feel confident handling their money, there are still real concerns about retirement, long-term care, and planning for the future alone. Joining us now is Deana Healy with Ameriprise Financial to walk us through the findings and share some practical advice. Welcome, Deana.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Now, what does this new research tell us about people who are managing finances on their own these days?
First off, what we know from the U.S. Census Bureau is that nearly half of Americans report being single. So as we delved into the research, what we found was that 85% of those who are financially solo said they feel confident in managing their day-to-day finances. But a similar proportion indicated concern about aging alone and navigating those expenses related to retirement, long-term care, or healthcare expenses as they aged financially solo.
Where are financially solo adults feeling the most confident right now, and where are some of the bigger concerns still showing up?
Sure. Solo adults are doing a lot of things right. They feel accomplishment, a sense of confidence about preparing for retirement, not being a financial burden to others, or purchasing a home. But being financially solo does raise the stakes. Gaps around long-term care planning, making sure they're shored up for retirement, and making sure they have the appropriate insurance protections and legal protections in place really reveal opportunities to just make sure they're dialed in and prepared for the long-term financial situation that they face.
What are some practical things that people can start doing right now to build more confidence for the future?
What I would say is that being financially solo doesn't mean that you have to go it alone. I would recommend talking to a trusted financial professional. An advisor can help you first understand what's important to you about your money. What do you want to have happen? What are your goals for your life as it relates to your money? They can then help you put together a plan to make sure you're saving appropriately for retirement, to make sure you have the adequate estate planning documents in place, like having a will, like having healthcare proxies or financial powers of attorney in place, and then making sure should something go wrong, you have the appropriate insurance protection to address those potential risks.
Looking at all the findings, which one surprised you the most?
For me, the most surprising was the sense of independence. 3/4 of our respondents said that they expected to remain financially solo for the long term. And in fact, 8 in 10 said that even if they were to find themselves in a couple or partnered, they expected to remain financially solo. What we know from the research is that being financially solo isn't just a one-time thing. It can change over the course of your life. It may be that you're intentionally financially solo early on in your 20s. You may then find yourself divorced or facing career challenges or health challenges, and you may find yourself widowed. And knowing that that can change over the course of your life, I think it's important to make sure that, one, you understand what's important to you about your money. Working with an advisor can help you with that, and making sure that you're ultimately prepared.
Where can viewers go to get more information?
Sure. To learn more, people can go to ameriprise.com/flying solo to learn more about the research and tips and best practices about making sure your financial future, you have a plan in place to make that as successful as possible.
Deana, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Chris.
A lot of people don't think about shingles until it happens, but for adults over 50, the risk actually goes up in a big way. It comes from a virus many of us have had since childhood, and when it comes back, it can seriously affect your daily life. We've got Dr. Leonard Friedland and Dr. Stacey Zulueta here to walk us through what to watch for and what we could do about it. Welcome, both of you.
Thank you.
Nice to be here.
So for people who have never had it, what is shingles like and how can it impact everyday life?
Well, I'll get started. This is Dr. Leonard Friedland from GSK Vaccines. I'm a vaccine research scientist. So shingles is characterized as a painful blistering rash. It's also referred to as herpes zoster. And this painful blistering rash, which we call shingles, is caused by the same virus that causes chickenpox. And once you've had chickenpox, that virus remains dormant inside your body, and it can reactivate years later as shingles. 99% of people over the age of 50 in the United States already have that virus inside their bodies. 1 in 3 people will develop shingles in their lifetime. So no matter how well we feel, it's important to mention that our immune systems will naturally weaken as we age. And starting at age 50, the risk of developing shingles sharply increases. And so age is one of the most important risk factors for shingles, and it's age 50 and older when that risk begins to sharply increase.
So you're talking about the risk of being 50 and how that goes up of actually getting shingles. Is there a particular reason?
Yeah, it's that our immune systems will naturally decline as we age. It doesn't matter how healthy we feel, how active we are, our diet, our sleep, etc. We all age, and as we age, our immune systems naturally decline. And when those immune system declines, that virus that's been sleeping inside our body, it can reactivate. And that is why we know that once we're 50 and older, the risk of shingles sharply increases among our population.
Well, I feel like this is some good news to know. You don't necessarily have to go and set up an appointment with your doctor. You can actually, if you're 50 and older, go over and talk to a local Walmart pharmacist about shingles. Is that true?
Yeah, absolutely. So even though you might be feeling young and healthy well beyond your 50th birthday, the truth is, just like Dr. Friedland said, is that the immune system starts to weaken and the risk of developing shingles increases as we age. So even though people might not believe that shingles will impact them, it's something that maybe only older people experience. What is actually true is that about 1 million people will develop shingles in the US every year. So this is the reminder for the Gen Xers out there who were born before 1976. You're now at increased risks for shingles. So now is a really good time to come in and talk to our Walmart pharmacist about your risk for shingles and about prevention.
Aside from age, what are some of the risk factors people should know about?
And that's really great that you asked about that. And we've already talked about age being one of the most important risk factors because we know that most cases of shingles do occur in people 50 years of age and older. But stress, for example, can also increase your risk. Additionally, certain health conditions like diabetes, chronic kidney disease, heart diseases, these have all been associated with an increased risk of shingles. So if you're 50 years of age and older, particularly if you have one of these underlying health conditions such as diabetes, chronic kidney disease, and heart diseases, make that appointment, go in and ask your pharmacist about your risk for shingles and about prevention.
How can a conversation with the Walmart pharmacist actually help someone prevent shingles?
So your local Walmart pharmacist is a trusted and accessible healthcare professional who can help you assess your risk for all vaccine preventable diseases, including shingles, and help guide the conversation about prevention. So if you're 50 years and older, I definitely encourage you to come and see your Walmart pharmacist. You can also go to walmart.com. You can make an appointment on the app, or like I said, just walk in to any of our stores and ask to speak to the pharmacist.
Our 50-plus audience is ready. Where do they need to go to learn more?
Well, in addition to speaking with your local pharmacist or another trusted healthcare provider about certain vaccine preventable diseases, including shingles, another place to get information about how to get that appointment is at a website called easyvax.com, EASYVAX. easyvax.com, and on that website you can find a pharmacy near you and make the appointment and then go on in and have that critical healthcare conversation, learn about vaccine preventable diseases including shingles and about prevention.
Dr. Leonard, Dr. Stacey, thank you so much for your time and all that great information. You have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A lot of people want to start investing, but don't always know where to begin. The good news is it doesn't have to be complicated, and it's something you can build over time. Lisa Hunt is a managing director at Charles Schwab, and she's joining us today with a practical look at how to get started and keep growing. Welcome, Lisa.
Thanks, Chris. We appreciate being here.
Lisa, for someone who's curious about investing but hasn't taken that first step, what's a good place to begin?
Well, I think just being curious is a great way to start, and that first step should really be to begin to get educated. Look for information about investing, how to get started, and just take that first step. It's really important.
And once someone gets going, how can more experienced investors keep building and growing their portfolios?
Yeah, getting started is really the first step, but investing is a journey and, hopefully a lifelong journey of investing. So even for people that have been invested, have a portfolio for a while, it's really important for them to take a step back, at least on an annual basis, and really reflect on where they are. Does their financial plan still make sense? Are their goals the same? Has something changed in their personal life? If they got married, had a baby, getting ready to retire, always good to reflect on that and ensure that your portfolio and your investments are working for you and are aligned with the goals that you've set in place.
Are you seeing any trends right now in who's getting started? Are younger people jumping in earlier?
One of the most exciting trends we are seeing is that individuals are starting to invest at a much earlier age. In fact, the average age of a third of our new account holders, new investors at Schwab are Gen Z. So that means people less than 30 years of age. That's terrific news. It means they have decades ahead of them to watch their investments grow and their wealth improve and their overall financial future as well. We recognize a lot of that has to do with making sure people are educated and that they have that confidence and feel empowered to invest. And in fact, just last month, we launched teen accounts. So at Schwab, you can be 13 to 17 years old and have your own investment account and really take the driver's seat of your financial future. We provide a lot of information and education, both for the investor, the teen, but also for their parents as they help their kids through that journey as well.
Wow, that's awesome. But there's some history tied to this idea of the National Investing Day. Can you walk us through what happened back in 1975 and why it still matters today?
Yeah, we just celebrated National Investing Day May 1st, and it really is to reflect on what happened May 1st, 1975, where the Securities and Exchange Commission, the regulator for financial services firms, removed the mandate around fixed fees. Many companies at that time took the opportunity to increase fees, increase the cost of investing, but our founder, Charles Schwab, really saw it as an opportunity to increase the accessibility of investing to everyone. In many ways, he democratized investing because he made the decision to lower fees and make it easier for people to get started and get invested. And we really felt 50 years later that was worth reflecting on. So now this is our second year of really celebrating on an annual basis National Investing Day.
All right. Where can people go if they want to learn more or just make that next step?
Yeah, I would encourage everyone to get started if they haven't and to reach out for help if they are invested at Schwab.com, easiest place to go to get started. That's our website, schwab.com. There's a lot of powerful information there. We also have 450 offices around the country with people waiting to help you start your investing journey as well. So get started.
Excellent. Lisa, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Chris. Have a good day.
Finding the right Mother's Day gift can feel a little personal, especially when it comes to fragrance. It's one of those things that can bring back memories or create new ones, but picking the right scent isn't always easy. We're getting some guidance this morning from Linda G. Levy, president of the Fragrance Foundation. Welcome, Linda.
Well, thanks for having me, Chris. It's great to be with you before Mother's Day. Gift time.
As we head out shopping for Mother's Day, what should we keep in mind when we're trying to find the right perfume for mom?
Well, there's a great variety of fragrances out there, and many people are quite overwhelmed by how many they see in the store. So the easiest way to understand the big possibilities is to think about scent profile. Today, we're going to talk about two important scent profiles for Mother's Day with a lot of newness to offer, and they are either floral or fruity. And even if you don't know much about fragrance, you can probably relate to that category.
A lot of people are ordering online now. How do you choose a fragrance without actually smelling it first?
Well, the categorization of fragrances, as I'm calling them scent profiles, are on every website for every retailer. So if you just look into what's new and you look at what the scent profiles are, the fruity and floral has a tremendous amount to offer. These are real trends that are really happening with a lot of newness. So it's almost like you're getting on the road and you pick one of those two lanes.
Now, what trends are you seeing or smelling this year when it comes to Mother's Day fragrances?
I'm smelling a lot of great things and actually put a few on here in the studio. The peach fragrances in the fruity category are really, really popular. A lot of pinks right here are floral, and florals are really popular throughout the year. One cannot just have one signature scent, but it's fun to have the category. I love this Jo Malone London, which is Yuzu Zest. It's fruity. It's available across the nation in Sephora. It's a fabulous fragrance, I would say. And the other one that if you went into Sephora, you could meet Kayali or Love Shack Fancy. These are great exclusives at Sephora. And you can tell by this beautiful peachy looking fragrance bottle. All of these are really beautiful gifts. The bow on top of Love Shack Fancy in the fruity category, or this peachy one from Kayali, these are definitely ones that you can't go wrong, and they're brand new for mothers.
Now, you're talking a lot about peachy and fruity, very summer scents, but how does fragrance shopping this time of year differ from the winter holidays?
That's a great question, Chris. Most of the time during the winter, you're thinking about something cozy, and most people wear deeper, more gourmand, heavier fragrances because they're sort of burrowed in with a lot of sweaters or going out with that coat. But even based on the climate change and the fact that the sun is out and the days are longer, people are very attracted to florals. It just, floral, as you can see, is part of what springtime's all about. So I would say on colder months or in colder climates, it's more of a heavy, maybe very sweet kind of fragrance. These are perfect for the springtime.
All right, where can people go if they want more tips or guidance?
You can learn a lot about fragrance at www.fragrance.org, or I would suggest if you're into Instagram, look at our Instagram at Fragrance Foundation. Every single day, we are showing what is new. You can't go wrong in this giftable season, and mothers are really adding to their collection. So I suggest you pop in there, Chris.
Linda, thanks so much for joining us today.
Have a great Mother's Day. Thanks for having me.
That's it for Rise and Unwind. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to learn more about the show, visit our website at riseunwindtv.com. And for behind-the-scene moments and celebrity interviews, be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Rise Unwind. You can also find our full episodes on YouTube under the same name at Rise Unwind. Until next week, I'm Chris Malony. Thanks for spending a little time with us on Rise and Unwind.